Hello, everyone, and welcome to Embracing Your Essence on Lilydale Radio. We are live tonight, and we are going to be talking about what you want. If you want more out of life, we're going to be talking about past lives. We're going to be talking about whatever you want to talk about, basically. We got lots of things, but what we want to do is make sure you're creating a life that's full of meaning, purpose, and joy. As you are joining in, please do say hello, and we will get going on our topic really soon. But as you can see, I have Gregg Unterberger here tonight. Say hello.
Hello.
Here's Gregg. Gregg is a past life regression therapist. He's a normal therapist. He also does...
As normal as therapists get.
Right. And he also does all sorts of things. Do you want to talk about induced afterlife stuff for just a second while people are logging in and saying hello? He does this really cool thing, and then I'll backtrack.
Yeah, a fascinating therapy that's developed, believe it or not, at the Chicago Veterans Administration Hospital that allowed combat veterans who had lost their comrades to seemingly have visionary experiences of contact with them and talk to them and finalize and work everything out with them. And many of their PTSD symptoms were almost automatically cured when they apparently made contact. We don't know whether these are real or imagined. The process is called induced after-death communication, which is a mouthful, IADC, induced after-death communication, because it's possible to induce a state of consciousness that is not hypnosis. The brain patterns look very different from regular hypnosis, and it allows people to have an internal visionary experience of the person that they lost in 75% of cases or more. And this is, well, there's just recently some new research at North Texas State where they did a pilot study with about 70 people in it, and they found that the preliminary results look like it's more effective than traditional grief therapy. So, of course, we're going to put Colleen out of business as a medium if everybody's having their own experience, because as a therapist, I don't do that. I create a space where that individual can drop into that space where they can make contact. So it's fascinating work.
Yeah, so I thought we just mention that, popped into my head at that moment. So here we are. So thank you again for joining me as you're all saying hello here. I see Christy, and I scrolled. Man, this thing, I'm telling you, one day it's not going to do that for me. There we are. Christy and Allie and
Christy.
Ashley. Nice
Hello,
to see
Ashley.
you. And Ann and Daniel and Jacqueline. Any feeling about a new job offer? Hi, Kyle. Nice to see you. And Zena, my
Hello,
favorite
Zena.
name. And Jenny and Debbie and Jan. Hello. We are going to... Okay, so just so you know, I am going to be doing readings tonight. I am going to be doing soul readings and past life readings. We are going to talk a little bit about the soul. And for those of you who don't know who I am, because I have not introduced myself, I'm Colleen van der Zijden, a registered medium at Lilydale, certified intuitive life coach and author of the book Courageously You. Gregg is also the author of the book The Quickening, Leaping Ahead on Your Spiritual Journey. And so we are just having so much fun the last couple of weeks talking about past lives and everything. We thought we'd continue. And so definitely as you are joining in, do say hello. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Lisa and Robin and same Tammy. I don't know. Bridget and Sarah. I am so sorry you lost a dear friend. Oh, I tell you, we're living in a strange time. A lot of people leaving. Hi, Jennifer and Allie. Okay, and Carol and Angela. Yay, okay. So let me just do the details. I have to do the details. LilydaleAssembly.org. You can find out everything that is happening in Lilydale. You can also find out what's happening in Lilydale on the Lilydale Facebook page. Lilydale Assembly Incorporated is the official page, and you can see all of the events happening. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening off season. Lots of Zoom workshops happening, plus all the radio shows, etc. So a lot going on there. You can connect with me on my website, ColleenVanderZijden.com. And tonight, if you are interested in making a comment, asking a question, getting a reading, you must be on my Facebook page, Colleen van der Zijden, medium and intuitive life coach. And that is how I will see your comments. If you're on Lilydale's page, I can't see your comments. So we are going to talk tonight about the soul. We're going to talk about past lives. You have questions about anything to do with creating a more meaningful life, the soul, past life, reincarnation, all sorts of
all tied together.
Everything, all with the soul. That's what we're going to do tonight. So hi, Meg. Nice to see you. And Inga.
Hello, Meg.
Yes. So let's talk about, first, before we get going, on any kind of readings. We're going to talk just a little bit, because what I want to talk about is how to get more out of life. How can we have the best life that we want to have? And my theory is that the more we understand who we are at the soul level, that we will have more meaning, more purpose, and more joy. And so we have been talking about the past lives and the things that we may have experienced in those lives that could be influencing us in this lifetime, or we may see some similarities between the qualities you had in a past life and the qualities you have in this life. It kind of helps us get to know ourselves a little bit better, because our souls do travel with us. And actually, our souls are with us all the time. So we are going to do all of this. So tonight, we're going to start out with, what is the soul? Like, what is the soul? We hear so many people talking about the soul. And when we think about this, my philosophy right now, it could change tomorrow, is that our soul is our connection to the divine, that our soul is a part of the divine universal energy, and also that our soul is who we truly are. That's who we really are. We get stuck in our physical lives and we think that's who we are. You know, I'm a mother, I'm a violinist, I'm an artist, I'm a whatever. But that's not really who we are. That's an expression of our soul. So our soul is really our highest expression, and that is our truth. So if you happen to have some idea about what you think the soul is, you can write it in the comments. And I'm going to also take some notes if you've asked some cool questions, because you know, if you ask cool questions, I'm going to come to you and give you a reading. Do you want to discuss what you think the soul is, or what other people have influenced you to believe to be true?
Well, I could share lots of things, but what immediately comes to mind is, you know, like, why would we want to identify at a deeper level with us as a soul or as part of the universal energy? And when you think about it, we're constantly changing. I'm a different person now than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, and maybe you can look back at different areas of your life. Our careers change. We're married, then maybe we're not married. We're little children, then we're adults. Our bodies are changing all the time. None of that is very consistent. All of that is very fleeting and ephemeral. And there is a way that as we begin to shift our identification into our soul, that there's this sense of safety. When we are in deep in meditation, or when we have a transcendent spiritual experience, we touch into ourselves as eternal beings. And there's a lot of comfort and there's a lot of peace in that, I think. Because, you know, we all hear people about somebody that's like, they were a big movie star in their 30s and now they're nobody, you know, quote unquote. Now, of course, Spirit would never say that they were nobody, and I wouldn't say that they were nobody. But if they identified them as, was a fabulous movie star 30 years ago, but now I can't get hired for a movie, you know, I'm a nobody. My identity doesn't exist anymore. And you can see how our identities are so fleeting. And so there's a lot of power in being able to step back and, shall we say, rest in our deeper identity, because that's going to be with us eternally, forever. And if you haven't experienced that, it's hard to believe, but it's there. And this is what great mystics from all different religious traditions tell us.
Yeah, and it's really cool because, Bridget, actually, that's a great comment. I got to just stop talking for a second to acknowledge this. She said, I view depression and anxiety as indicators we are not in alignment with our soul. Yes. And that is definitely a philosophy or theories that some people have talked about. And it's really cool when we think about our souls as being consistent and constant throughout lifetimes, between lifetimes, in heaven, if you will, on the other side. And in each of our physical lifetimes, we have our own unique expression of our soul, and it's very unique. And I have this philosophy too, that we come into this life with a plan or a purpose, where we might want to come here to learn to love more deeply or fully, or maybe we come here to be a jerk to help other people learn how to stay strong in their power, or maybe we want to learn how to be humble or kind. And everybody is so unique and so different, with lots of different reasons for being alive at this very time. And now I just saw some good questions, so I got to go backwards.
Let's go backwards. Time is illusory anyway, so might as well go backwards.
Yes, I am going to come to you, Angela, in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. I definitely am going to do this. Now, two people said something about trying to do past lives and doing the past life regression, but they keep falling asleep.
Yeah. Well, if it helps any, I've studied with Dr. Brian Weiss, who's the Obi-Wan Kenobi of past life regression. Maybe you've seen him on Oprah or read his famous book, Many Lives, Many Masters. And when I was training with Brian in group regression with other students, I would fall asleep all the time. So first off, there's nothing to be ashamed about if that is what is happening to you. Now, I will give you a hint. Don't lay down, okay? If you know you fall asleep easily when you do a past life regression, either with a certified hypnotherapist who's familiar with past life regression, whether you do it in a group setting, whether you do it individually, or whether you're just listening to a recording, sit up. Make sure that you are a few inches, away from the back of the chair, and sit with your spine straight. You can still relax and drop your shoulders and everything, and allow the curvature of your spine to support you. But if you fall asleep easily, that's the very best thing that I can tell you. What's great about working with people individually is they always say, oh, but I'll fall asleep on you. It's like, no, you won't, because I'm going to watch you breathing, and I will keep asking you questions and getting a physical response from you. If you still hear the sound of my voice, lift your fingers. And I have never once in an individual regression had someone fall asleep and stay asleep. They've come perilously close, which is sort of the trance state, is right in between wakefulness and sleep. But they have never slept through a regression that I've led individually. So in individual regression, we can watch for that. In a group or listening to a recording, yeah, it's harder, and you get better at it the more you do it.
Yeah, and it is interesting too. I wonder if sometimes when people fall asleep, if they are actually connecting to spirit guides, past lives, and just may not be aware of it.
They might be.
Especially when you think about that time before you fall asleep or right before you wake up and you're in that kind of, what do they call that kind of sleep?
It's called hypnagogic sleep, or the famous psychic Edgar Cayce called it pre-sleep. And in fact, that is the deep meditative state, is when the brain is cycling lots of theta waves, which are long, slow waves, just below, they're just above the delta wave where we fall asleep. And so maybe you've had intuitive flashes or spirit contact, radical problem solving. It just came to you while you were falling asleep or while you were waking up, because that's actually the edge of the trance state as we go into sleep. And if you wake up gently in the morning, don't hop out of bed right away. You still, very close to that dream state, So a lot of psychic and intuitive information can come at those times.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing when you think about that? Yeah. And so there was another question, and then I'm going to do a reading in a second, you guys. Mimi, she asked, how can we tune into our souls? Okay, and it's so interesting when we think about it, because our souls are within us. Our souls are who we are. Our physical body is affected by our souls, etc., etc. And I think sometimes we make it out to be maybe a bigger thing than it has to be. It's kind of like it's our humanness wanting to put pressure on ourselves to know exactly what our soul wants and do what our soul wants, right? That's the human part of us. But getting to know your soul, if you will, is really allowing it to be revealed to you. It's allowing the insight to come to you without necessarily trying. And I always like to do it by qualities of a person, like what kind of person you are, because you came into this physical incarnation with certain qualities that you wanted to express your physical body with. That didn't make sense as a sentence, but you know what I mean. So that's really important to think about that. So hold on, you guys, for 2 seconds, because I just want to say, if anybody's on the Lilydale Assembly page and you want a reading, make a comment, ask a question, you need to come over to my page on Facebook, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. And Mimi, I feel like I've done a soul reading with you before, but I'm not sure if I have. Now, when I do a soul reading, what I'm doing is I'm touching into your soul to tell you a little bit about yourself and what kind of person you are, what your qualities are. And it's how I touch in with you today. I could touch in with you a different day and come up with something else. You never know. So it's whatever is most important right now. And I implicitly trust spirits and guides, etc., to guide me. Do you want to do the soul reading?
Do I want to be wonky?
I thought it'd be fun.
No.
Okay, so
I'll
Mimi.
let you do the heavy lifting.
So Mimi.
I'll take the wonky stuff.
Okay, good. We'll do a wonky in a sec. And I am coming to you, Angela. I haven't forgotten you. Okay, but here, Mimi, I'm going to touch in with you for a second and see your soul. So in your soul, what is really beautiful is I know that you are a kind and caring person. I seem to have a lot of kind and caring people who are here on my show, or maybe I'm just attracted to them and want to talk to the kind and caring person. So anyway, you are that. You also are quite sensitive, and I mean that in all regards. Do you happen to do any kind of energy work? Because you have a lot of empath ability with you, a lot of intuitive ability with you, and the word that comes to me most of all for you is I'm going to say love and sensitivity. That's 2 words. I know. Here we are. Love and sensitivity. So those are your things. I would expect when something bad, in quotes, happens to you, something disturbing or upsetting, that it really touches your heart, and it really can bother you for days on end. So if you know that you are a loving soul, which you are, then a way to tune into your soul would be to look at everything from love. Look at yourself from love. If you happen to have a highly critical inner voice, then that would be a time to work on healing that. I don't feel like you have that, but I'm just saying that in case other people want to know more about that. Okay, and here's the thing too. When you think about love, sometimes we think about unconditional love, which can turn into being a doormat. And I call that unconditional love gone wrong. And what we want is love where we also have boundaries. Love where we protect our own energy. Love where we honor what we are interested in, where we honor whatever, however we want to express our creativity. These are all how you will get closer in touch with your soul, is to think about these qualities of how you express yourself in this world. Lots of times people think our soul's purpose is what we do in this world. And it's not necessarily what we do, but that is an expression of our soul. Okay, it's how we do it, who we are when we're doing those things, what our purpose is in doing it. Okay, so that's for you, Mimi, a little bit of a reading on your love and kindness there. Okay, now let's bug Gregg for a minute, and then I'm going to see who else I want to talk to. I know I'm coming to you. I'm waiting for you, Angela.
Yeah.
Would you like to talk about this one?
Well, what I would say to Mimi too, and I think this is important for all of us to remember, when we're on the spiritual journey, we say, oh, well, I want to be loving to people. And it's always the other. Okay, it's usually, well, yeah, but if I did, I have to do this for them, and I'm exhausted, and I'm irritated, and I really don't. They irritate the hell out of me because I got to do it for them. But I want to be a loving person, so therefore I'm going to do them, and I'm going to hate them all the time that I'm doing it. It's like, is there something wrong with this picture? And here's what I would invite everybody to reframe on their spiritual journey: what's the most loving thing I can do for everyone involved? Not just them, but for you too. If I am doing and acting out of what might be called codependency or people pleasing, and I am exhausting myself and wind up irritated at everybody, then I'm not being very loving to me. So there's a balance there, and obviously it's not just about, well, I want everybody to do everything I want them to do, and I don't want to have to ever do any acts of service for anybody. It's not as simple as one way or the other, and you're giving, or you're a bad person. But there's a balance there. And most people, when they say, well, I want to be a loving person, or I want to do the loving thing, they don't take themselves into account.
Right? That is so true. Especially if you're an empath, or especially if you're a highly sensitive person or an intuitive, because we have been so trained in our lifetimes to help other people before ourselves. And it's really easy to put our own needs on the back burner and sacrifice ourselves, thinking we're being loving, thinking we're supposed to do that. And that can be an issue, definitely.
And hi, Debbie, by the way.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Okay, I've got lots of names written down, so if I'm not talking to you right away, that doesn't mean I'm not ever going to talk to you, because I am going to talk to you. But what I do want to talk about right now is I want to talk about how we express our souls. Our souls can express through those qualities I talked about earlier with Mimi, but also through what we're doing, also through creativity. But you have a really interesting a way of describing how our souls work with the light.
Yeah, well, when you think about it, we're all sort of broken in different ways at this level. Our soul may be perfect, okay, but Greg, the person, doesn't wipe down the refrigerator the way Colleen would like him to all the time, and I drop the ball sometimes, and I make some mistakes, and I hurt some people's feelings. As I'm being expressed in the world, I'm imperfect. There's a certain level of brokenness, and I don't mean sinfulness, and I don't mean, that God condemns me for any of this. I mean, we're imperfect beings, right, as we express ourselves in the world. And one way to think about that is like broken pieces of glass. But when broken pieces of glass are assembled in a beautiful cathedral or a church, and the light shines through them, each window is beautiful. And each window is radiant, and it is beautiful in its own way, even though one window is very different from another. It's hard to say, which one you like best, because they're all unique. And in the same way, even in our imperfection, even at our current level of spiritual awareness or awakening, the light can shine through us. And when it does, it's something really spectacular and beautiful. And so then it could be asked this way: what does Christy look like with the light of the divine shining through her? What does Annette look like? How does Annette want to express herself, given her skills, even given her mistakes and her errors? How does the light of the divine want to shine through you and express itself in the world? And I submit that when we are doing that, we are probably never happier. Okay? And sometimes it's literally pleasurable. Sometimes there are people that choose careers or do things and they get great joy in giving to others. And sometimes it's hard work, but we're happy that we're doing that hard work, and we feel that energy being expressed in the world, and we're glad that we're doing it. So that's an interesting model to play with. Like, given your unique skills and abilities, how might spirit want to express itself through you?
Yeah. Right? And when you think about the things you like to do, when you feel most like you, I like to say that a lot. When you feel most like you, what are you doing? And you don't have to have this big purpose. I'm always saying this too. You don't have to start a foundation, and you don't have to do that. But just by being you and living as your soul helps. Mary, she says, I've been told I'm an advanced evolved soul more than once, yet my life has been small, dark stuff, not breaking out of limited circumstances. So painful, unfulfilled dreams, etc. And I don't understand how I could be advanced, but have a life like that. Mary, I can tell you, if you are on a spiritual path of wanting to live from your soul's perspective as much as possible, and you have experienced so many things like the unfulfilled dreams and painful things and limitations and stuff, that at some level your soul probably said, you know what, this is really going to teach you a lot. Let's do this. And you were so brave back then when you were coming into this life as the soul, coming into the physical body. You were like, I've got this. I really want to learn as fast as I can about spirituality and who I am and reconnecting to my soul. So you just lay it on me and I'll be great. We kind of forgot what the human life was like as the soul. We're like, we got it. We're so optimistic and so positive because we have all that energy. But here's the thing. We come into this physical life and we still have all of that energy. It just gets buried a little bit under some of life's stuff. Okay, so it is likely that you are, I'm going to say, an advanced soul, though I don't know if there are such things as an advanced soul or old souls. It's just a label we give to understand people who seem to have more wisdom than the rest of us. But an advanced soul or somebody of your, I want to say soulness, which is not a word, but from that, somebody like you who wants to be your best self, who wants to live as your soul. What you'll want to do is look at all of these things that have happened that seem dark and hard and start looking for the lessons in it. Start looking for how you succeeded with this. Start looking for how your soul responds to this. And really, you can start getting to know yourself. My philosophy is always the better we know ourselves, the happier we're going to be. Mm-hmm. It's my philosophy. Yeah. And so that can help. Do you want to say something about that?
Oh, I think you summed it up beautifully, except to say that, spiritual traditions like A Course in Miracles, for those of you that are familiar with it, or, of course, I'm a student of the Edgar Cayce work, a very famous psychic who gave 14,000 trance readings, made predictions about the future that have come true, and read about past lives and the nature of Jesus and everything. All those traditions say that we come into a lifetime and we pick our curriculum, if you will, our life circumstances, maybe not every single detail of them. And it within that choice allows for free will of other people. But broadly and generally, it's like, okay, I'm going to take this class and learn these lessons. In a past life, maybe I, ridiculed somebody and was hurtful. And so in this lifetime, I'm going to choose to be ridiculed, not as punishment, but so that I can learn the lesson and go, oh, this really hurts. Well, I don't want to do that to people. And so now that I'm on the receiving end, I know what that's like. And so I'm going to make a pact with myself. And all of you guys have done this about something. Somebody's done something mean to you, and you go, I would never do that to another person. I know how much it hurts now. And I would say in those moments, you are getting the karmic lesson. So, and those who have lots of challenges are probably referred to by some near-death experiences as very courageous souls. It's like I'm coming in and I'm taking on a lot, but I feel like I'm up for it. And I always tease Colleen and say, I don't know what my soul was thinking when I chose this part of it.
Right? Yeah, and it's amazing, too, because when we're thinking about that, lots of times, as if we step on that spiritual path, we think our lives are going to be easier. Okay, it's almost as though in somewhere in our heads we think, well, if I'm more spiritual, that means I'm going to have more guidance, which you can, I guess.
Yeah.
But also that life is going to be easier. But what I have found is those who step on the spiritual path and truly do try to live as their best person, as their soul, truly do try to live from love, that we tend to have some interesting lessons. And I don't like that word, but it works for today.
Well, how about challenges? How about that?
Yes, okay.
Opportunity. People say another freaking opportunity for growth, AFOG. But they really are, and that can bring so much meaning to your life too.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we can look at life a little differently, when I started looking at my life from that perspective, that I was learning things, but also that I had the power to change how I was feeling, that I had the power to look at something and go, what can I do to make myself feel better? That really accelerated my spiritual growth because I was taking responsibility, but I was also opening up to the guidance so that I knew what to do. Okay. And so that's important for us to remember too. So even if we have challenges, I always say whatever's happening in life is leading us to our soul. It's an opportunity to step into it. One of my favorite quotes is, there are no problems, only opportunities.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes the opportunities can really suck. But how else would we learn those lessons? And so sort of consciously taking them on instead of postponing them, we move through them more quickly. Surely everybody in this audience that's watching right now has something in their lives that seems to, well, how come this keeps coming up? How come I keep, dating the wrong people, or the wrong, make these financial mistakes, or how come? And it's like, well, they have a way of returning until you learn them, Yeah. So might as well kind of take them on consciously and try and learn from them.
Absolutely. Okay, it's Angela time. Okay, so Angela says, I feel like sometimes my soul has left me at times. So let's talk about that part first, Angela. Okay, because I know there have been a lot of times people have felt like their souls have left them, especially if life is hard. We've got lots of challenges. Your soul doesn't leave you ever. Your soul will never, ever, 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 ever leave you. Your soul is always with you. Like I said earlier, it just sometimes gets buried up in some of the stuff we've got in life. The other thing that Angela posted earlier was that she has tried to kill herself twice, and she wants to know why she's still here, and does her soul want her to stay? And the answer is yes. Your soul does want you to stay. Angela, it is interesting. It's kind of similar to what I said to somebody else. I don't remember who it was now, about all the life challenges, Mary, all the life challenges she'd had, and how important it is for her soul development and her soul revealing, well, really is a better word. So, Angela, that is so important for you. There's something really interesting with your soul, Angela, because you are so bright. And by that, I mean bright light, but also I mean bright intelligent. And I also mean bright in terms of you being able to help other people. It is very interesting because I have to tell you, it's so, your light is so clear. It is so clear. And you have such abilities, probably way beyond what you can possibly even think about. Okay, you could do pretty much anything you want to do in the metaphysical realms. You could do it. Okay, anything. It's a very natural part of your soul. In a past life, I guess I'm going there for you. In a past life, you were also, I'm going to call you like a medicine woman, if you will. You were somebody who made concoctions and worked with energy to help people. And it was very natural for you. You knew what you were doing. You had some training, but it was really, really intuitive. And I wonder, Angela, if your soul, boy, let's just put it this way. Your soul is so connected to the divine universal energy that that's the energy you have within you, which has made you very sensitive. And I know I mentioned that for somebody earlier, but you more. Okay, I mean very sensitive. You have to really manage your energy. I know you have been tested a lot by people who have not been very nice to you. And there is this sense of you feeling, it's kind of like clawing your way out of a hole. Right? It seems like you just get up to the top and something knocks you down again. Your soul came into this lifetime to learn how to hope. That's what's happening. Your soul came into this lifetime to learn how to hope. And your soul also came into this lifetime because you are so bright. And your light is essential here. If you are not studying something in the metaphysical field, I would definitely encourage you, if you have any interest in anything metaphysical, anything at all, anything, you should definitely check it out and pursue it. I feel so strongly, and this is just my feelings. If it doesn't feel right to you, then throw it out the window. But I feel so strongly that if you were to step into this, it would help you recognize how connected you are to the divine and how much of a difference you can make here for other people and yourself in this physical lifetime. Okay, so that's my speech to you, Angela, today. Thank you for listening. And while I'm going to take a little pause for a minute to just let you guys know, we are going to be doing a free workshop in January. If you haven't seen any post about it yet.
Free is good.
Free workshop.
We like free.
3 nights in the middle of January. I think it's January 15, 16, 17, something like that. But anyway, the link for it to learn more about it is right at the very top of this feed. You'll be able to see it right there. And it's called Embrace the Light Within. And we're going to be doing all sorts of things. Share?
Yeah. We're going to talk about the epidemic of loneliness. Has anybody felt lonely or cut off? Guess what? You're not alone in that. We'll talk about that sense of disconnection that comes out of that. We feel disconnected from each other and from ourselves. Who am I really? How many, there are probably people that are listening right now or watching right now and saying, my husband or my wife want me to be like this. My boss wants me to be like this. My kids expect me to be like this. My parents want me to be like this. I don't even know who I am anymore. And that would be essential to kind of come back to a knowing of who you are at the personality level, at the interim level, and of course disconnection from our soul that some of you guys are talking about right now. That is incredibly painful. We are soul weary or soul lonely. We want to feel that connection. And we miss that connection. People that have the so-called near-death experience talk about an indescribable love on the other side that is beyond anything we've ever felt. And then they come back, and Angela, they say very much like you, it's like, this is a lousy world, and why would I even want to stay in it? And yet all of them say, even those that did commit suicide, say that they're glad that they came back because this is where we really learn and move forward. And that if we suicide, we just kind of postpone all those lessons for another lifetime. We won't escape them, is what they say. So we'll be talking about those kinds of things. Colleen will be helping you hook up with your spirit guides. I'm going to be leading you through an amazing meditation that will allow you to touch into and experience the light of your soul. It's 3 consecutive nights, and it's all free.
Yeah. So you can sign up for it right there. And if you look in my events page here, Colleen Van Der Zijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, if you go to events, you'll be able to see it. It's usually right at the top of the feed. But anyway, it's there. So free workshop. Can't go wrong there, can ya? Okay.
Yeah,
now,
and these are live, by the way. They're not just recordings
Yes.
where we're droning on. It's like we'll interact with you and answer your questions and in the feed, just like we were doing tonight.
Yes. And I do want to acknowledge you guys are so nice because everybody is giving Angela, just letting her know she's not alone, that other people are feeling that too. Keep the faith, just and how they can relate. Isn't it amazing? I tell you guys, we are going through quite the consciousness shift, and I've been talking about it for years. I know one of my clients said to me last week, you said the same thing 3 years ago. Is it over yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. But it's all about us individually shining our light. And once we really start living our lives from love and light toward ourselves as well as others, always protect yourself. Okay. You have to do this. It's okay to do. Okay. If we start doing this, intentionally living from love, we are going to change the energy of the world, one person at a time, the ripple effect.
It's the only way it's going to change.
It is the only way it's going to change.
We want to reach out and fix everybody else and make the media or these political groups or whatever change, and we just don't have that kind of power. I mean, by all means, if you believe in something, vote and send your money. So, but really, who are we in charge of? Us. How loving am I going to be, and what impact will that have on everybody today? And how's my kindness and understanding and forgiveness going to impact the world? And you guys have all been on the receiving end of that, where somebody said something nice, or somebody did something loving for you, or something kind, or gave you some small gift, and it just made your entire day. And what if that's part of our purpose in the world?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tricia, how does one find their soul when overwhelmed by their identity? Okay, what I said earlier to somebody about knowing who you are at the soul level, a word, something like this. Think about what you like to do. Okay, our identity in the physical life is so important because society says it's important. Okay, but no matter what we are doing, we can always do it from the quality. And again, everybody who is here watching me tonight, us tonight, I'm so used to saying me, everybody who's here tonight, I have not yet, well, I shouldn't say that. There were a couple people who were jerks a few years ago here, but generally the people who are watching are lovely, kind, wonderful people. So you all could take love, of course, as why you're here. Okay, now Tricia, when you came into this lifetime, you're a connector. You like to connect with people, and overwhelmed by your identity, their identity, we're so concerned about external things and how we're perceived and stuff, but you are a connector. You're the kind of person that knows how to bring people together. You're the kind of person that knows how to smooth things out and make everybody feel better. Sometimes when I'm looking at somebody's soul, I also see colors, and so I'm going to just give you a color, Tricia. And Tricia, of course, my logic brain just recognized what I was about to say, is blue. And blue is the communication color, which would also go with the connecting. When I'm channeling, I don't have a logical brain, so when I catch up, it's always a surprise to me. So something we can do as well, think about if you're trying to figure out who you are, and think about what is important to you in terms of values. Okay, what is important? Now, in my book, which I don't have a copy down here, Courageously You, if you have that, there is a values exercise in there with a list of values.
It's really good.
And if you follow my directions, you'll get your top 3 to 5 values. And that will tell you also who you are at the soul level. If you value humor, then you don't want to have a partner who's serious all the time. It's not going to work out so well, probably, right? If you value integrity, then you don't want to be with somebody who's dishonest and unethical, okay? So you see, if you know what your values are, that can also help you see what your soul is as well. So that's in my book, Courageously You, and you can find that there. So Tricia, and anybody else who is really wanting to connect with a soul, it's so important to stop thinking about it and instead feel it. What feels right to you? Be curious about how you interact with people. Are you always friendly with people? Do you smooth things over and try to help people? Do you overreact? Be curious about some of these things because that'll lead you to those qualities that are unique to you and your expression. Nobody else can be you. Nobody. Nobody. I should probably do another reading. Okay, now.
Well, you pick that. I want to say one other thing.
You do that.
This is probably mundane, and probably everybody's heard this a million times before. But meditation, because in meditation, what we're doing is we're learning to step back from our thoughts and notice all the rush of thoughts that go by. And in doing so, we can begin to develop a connection to that part of our mind that's connected to the divine, that can rest, that doesn't own those thoughts, okay, that just watches them arise. This is my egoic mind or my monkey mind, and what am I going to have for dinner, and I got to make sure and do this, and oh my gosh, they're going to kill me if I don't turn this in on time. And I can watch all those thoughts go by, and I can step back and rest in the divine or in my connection to love or connection to peace. And the more that you do that, then the more you identify with that part of you that is the watcher, that is apart from the usual chatter that goes on in all of our brains.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Zena, she's wondering that maybe she might have done something in a past life that she's being punished now in this one. No, you're not. Okay. And no, you're not being punished in this lifetime. What you learned in a past life, the learning comes into this lifetime as well. And then she says, also, if I was close to someone very special to me in this life, that we were connected in our past lives as well, and how we have such a strong bond that our souls are linked somehow, but I do not understand why they are hurting me so deeply. It seems we have a little bit of a theme this evening about people having a tough time and wondering how that connects with our soul growth, our soul connections. And Zena, it is interesting. In this lifetime, we need to learn how to be ourselves. We need to learn how to protect ourselves. We need to learn how to love ourselves. And it is highly likely that if this person, you were very close to them in a past life, and maybe an amazing connection there, and then this lifetime you found each other again, and you are so connected to them, and you're like, I love you so much, I feel so familiar with you, it feels just wonderful and so comfortable, and then things get bad. It could very well be that you guys made an agreement before you came into this lifetime that that person was going to help you become your best self and learn how to stand up for yourself, or learn how to protect yourself, or learn how to love yourself, and that they are actually doing what you guys had agreed to ahead of time. And I know a lot of people do not like if I say something like that. It's like, no, I would never agree to that. I would never, never, never do that. Why would somebody who loves me do that? Because they're wanting to help you. Okay, it's a very big, deep concept to think about. This is a heavy one, you guys. This is not like, smile and everything's great. This is a big one. So that's something to consider. And Zena, very similar to some other people, you are very sensitive as well. You are a person who picks up other people's energies. You're an empath. I know you have a hard time believing in yourself, and it's even made harder by people around you who don't believe in you as well. So this is when we need to find people that can help support you, friends, even people here, on my show. There are people here that you can connect with, and it is amazing how people will find each other. And we need to, as a whole, and this is to everyone, we need to find different ways to be there for each other. We are all connected. We are all one. We want to do that. And so, Zena, for you, I want you to remember that you are a person who deserves to have everything you want. You are a person who deserves to have love. Okay? It's all within you. Okay? Work on, I don't like the word work, play with loving yourself more. What can you do to take care of yourself? What can you do to protect your energy? What can you do to make you feel happy? What can you do that makes you feel like you? All of those things. And I know somebody out there just said, oh, that's so selfish. It's not selfish. This is not selfish. Self-care, self-love is never, never selfish. We have to love ourselves first. We have to take care of ourselves before we can deal with other people. But also what it does is it strengthens our power. So when we're in a situation where somebody is not very nice to us, or we're feeling like we're attacked, it rolls off us much easier. You must have something to say about this.
Of course you do.
Of course he does.
Well, two things that create a lot of hope for me. My model, and I think Colleen's, is very similar to the famous psychic Edgar Cayce, who said, there is no karmic debt. There is no karmic debt. There's only karmic memory. Now, what did Mr. Cayce mean by that? Here's my take on it. It's not that we're punished. Oh, I was bad in the other lifetime, and now I'm going to. If you've watched the show, you probably heard, many of you have heard me say this before, but it's like the soul goes, wow, I hurt somebody and I didn't learn the lesson about that. So I'm going to choose an incarnation where someone hurts me inadvertently, perhaps, or maybe they agree to. I don't know. And then that will give me the opportunity to learn that lesson. And so, and Casey also says that of whatever we sort of contract for, or whatever curriculum we sign up for in a given incarnation, how much do we accomplish? And he said, in the main, about half. And so that means you and whoever this person is may have come in with grand intentions. Hey, let's make peace with each other. Let's get together. Let's work it through. We couldn't last lifetime. We wound up being bitter enemies, even though we were business partners or lovers or mother and son. And we'll come back in and we'll plan to meet each other and we'll work this out. But people being who they are, we're imperfect. And at an egoic level, we get caught up in this world, as so many of you have pointed out, and we drop the ball. And in fact, I had a woman who I took her into a life between life regression, and she came out of the whole thing weeping, and she said, my mother has always been incredibly cruel to me, but I saw that on the other side that she agreed to come in and be my mother again, and she really wanted to get it right. She said, I want another opportunity to be your mother and be the kind of mother that's loving and supportive, and I'm going to do everything I can. And she came in and she still got caught in alcoholism and addiction and failed miserably. But this woman was weeping, Colleen, because she saw that her mother's intention was to make good on the karmic agreement that they'd come to. Sometimes we come in with those, and sometimes we drop the ball, and sometimes people we love very, very dearly and have a strong karmic connection to drop the ball, and it is way painful. No question about that.
Yes, and Sarah, I hope you heard that one. Sometimes it's just is.
Yeah, and so and there's always lessons for us to learn too about we are still worthy even if somebody abandons us, or even if we get fired from a job. Even if the karma didn't play out exactly the way we want it, we can always learn our end of the lesson, which probably has a lot to do with forgiving ourselves and them.
Yeah, and there's so much to say. And it seems, a lot of people, the comments they're making tonight, it seems like people are really struggling with a lot, okay? And
a lot of pain.
Yeah, life is not easy. And so let's just reiterate how brave you were to come into this physical lifetime, right? Life is not easy. So don't add on to how hard it can be by beating yourself up or thinking you've done something wrong. Okay, you haven't done anything wrong. You're learning, you're growing, you're trying to evolve and be your soul as best you can. So give yourself some grace, and if necessary, some forgiveness. That's something to do, and there's just so much happening in the world right now. And so we do want to make sure we're kind to ourselves. And part of the consciousness shift is that. Be kind to yourselves. Okay, let's see. I had somebody I was going to talk to, but I can't remember who it was. So let's see where I go.
I'm seeing some familiar names. Hi, Jan.
Yeah. Zena says she's trying to understand. That made some sense, I think. Now, Lisa, she had a great comment. Thanks, Lisa. She said she went through some stuff last year, and it made her really dive deeper into her spirituality after that. It was actually the best thing for me. Taught me so much. Now, think about that. Some of the hardest things in our lives can lead us to our best things, which can give us hope that things are going to change. You know, life it's all about change. I don't think any of us stay in the same place all the time.
Let's hope not.
Even if it's good.
Isn't that the definition of growth? Is that we become different. There's a new iteration. I had a client that will remain nameless because as a psychotherapist, I value confidentiality. But this woman, and I write about her in my book, lost her husband, and she came to work with me, and she realized she had a lot of collective trauma. There was a rape, and she'd seen a terrorist attack, and there was just one thing after another, and had grown up in a tough childhood, but the loss of her husband brought her to therapy. And we worked really intensely for about a year, and she said it changed her life completely. And at the end of it, she goes, you know, my husband's death was the best gift I never wanted. And please be very clear, she was not happy to lose her husband, who she adored, but she was happy for the learning that came with it or out of it, and a clarity. Oh, I have a lot of trauma. Oh, I'm being hurt. I need help. I need support. I can get it. And she had lots of spiritual experiences in her work as well. Yeah,
it is so important, you know, to just recognize there is a bigger picture that maybe we can't see at the physical level right now. Yeah. But at a spiritual level, there is something going on.
There's a lot of power in being able to simultaneously grieve and go, I can learn from this. And I can learn from this does not mean you have to be happy about it, and you shouldn't be in the short term when life brings you adversity. That would be crazy. That would be denying your feelings. But there is a balance there, and knowing it's like, well, what can I get out of this? You know, I often say when I took care of my parents for about 5 years when they got elderly, you know, part of the thing I said is, well, what can I learn out of this? You know, I'm going to learn to be patient with infirm people and people with dementia. And I'm going to have to learn how to balance my energy between time spent with them and taking care of them and my own professional and personal life so that I don't wind up killing them or feeling like I've abandoned myself. And so I wonder, Greg, I wonder how this is going to go. I wonder how this is going to be really interesting. Okay, and side by side, the love and the sadness and the frustration that goes along with watching a mom after a stroke and a dad with Alzheimer's.
Right.
It's not either or.
Yeah, exactly. Debbie says adversity brings you closer to the divine. It took her a long time to realize that. And that is true. Years ago, when I would kind of spiral down, I knew that what I was doing was clearing things out and would actually go higher after. Somebody said earlier something about how do we get rid of that negative voice when we've had it for so long? And right, I wrote a book on that. So, right?
I'll give you my number.
I wrote a book on that, literally. But the first thing to do, and if you guys get my newsletter, if you're on my mailing list at all, you know I love intentions. I love words. The power of our words is so important. You know, if we're complaining all the time about something, we're dragging ourselves down and our vibration is getting lower and lower. So if we want to connect with our soul, if we want to counteract that negative voice, we want to do a positive intention. I am love, or I am joy. Even if you don't believe it, maybe especially if you don't believe it, okay? In my coaching group, we always do intention, and I always say, pick the one that makes you cringe because you don't quite believe it, okay? And then we work with that over the 8 weeks of the coaching program. And so it's always interesting to see, but if you want to start with that, if you've never done intentions before, the way to do it is you pick one. I am love. I am is very important. That means you are that right now. Even if you don't believe it, or you're not quite sure yet, or it makes you cringe a little. So I am is important. Then pick something. Love, kindness, caring, peace, whatever it might be that feels right to you. You get up in the morning, you're in the bathroom combing your hair, and you say aloud, I am love. And then you stop, you pause, and feel how you would feel if you were love, if you truly were love and everything you did was love, you expressed love, you loved everything. How would that feel? I expect it would probably feel pretty good. Yeah, now you'd probably be happy. You'd probably feel confident. You'd probably feel secure. Your energy would be expanding. So you feel that as you say, I am love. Breathe it in and exhale it. Anytime your negative critical voice comes in, pause and go, I am love. Breathe it in, breathe it out, feel it. Okay, this takes dedication, this takes persistence. If we've had a negative voice for 40, 50 years, it's not going to happen like first shot around here. So we have to make a commitment to do it. But if you do it, it will change your life. That is my simplest way to change your life, is by doing an intention intentionally. It really makes a difference. I love my intentions, mostly because I know they work, and it's worked for me.
Yeah.
So there we are.
The therapist has a hack too. May I?
Oh yes, I've got to give somebody a reading. So you do that while I'm.
Yeah.
Well, I need to see who's grabbing me.
You peruse and see where spirit takes you. Yeah, the inner critic. Start noticing what it says in your head. Okay, like you're so stupid, or you always screw everything up, or nobody would want you. And then as you begin to notice what that dialogue is in your head, where'd you learn that? Because I guarantee it's an ex-husband, it's an ex-wife, it's mom, it's dad, it's a boss. And it may be that they didn't say those things, but you were treated that way consistently. And so you learned, it's like, do unto others as you do unto ourselves or whatever. It's like we do to ourselves as was done unto us. It's like, oh, well, dad always said I was a loser, so I hear dad's voice in my head. And if you didn't like it when dad said it, notice when that voice says, you're such a loser. And you take a deep breath and you go, do I really want to listen to that voice right now? And it'll amp up, especially when you start to resist it a little bit. But just take a deep breath and step back from it and go, I know who you are. This is dad in my head. This is my ex-husband in my head. This is my last boss in my head. And I didn't like it when they talked to me that way. And I'm not going to talk to me. What would I like to say to myself instead? I'm a good person. I am love. I contribute. Lots of people love me, and say that to yourself. Begin to create a new voice in there. Okay, and that's a lot of what Colleen's talking about too.
Yeah.
So it's not either or.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about tonight, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Okay, now Ashley, I have this video on my Facebook page, but I'm going to just briefly touch on it right now. She asked about panic attacks. Okay, so I have a video. It's something about dealing with emotional ups and downs. Is the video? It's 2 minutes long. Go to my page when we get off this. Not right now, because here we are, and you can see the video. But if you put your hand right here, right below your heart and above your belly button, and touch your third eye. Okay, this, by your hand by your belly button area, that is your personal power energy center. This is your third eye. This is the area that connects with your intuition, with God, the soul, etc. If you breathe with the intention of your power and your intuition connecting, you are creating a cycle of energy, and this will help you calm down in a panic attack. So you breathe very deeply. You're breathing in the power. You're connecting to this third eye energy, and you're exhaling anything you don't need. Okay, so that is on my Facebook page. It's a 2-minute video. I did it a couple weeks ago or something. So that's there. Okay, here I go.
Yeah, and coming up in Embrace the Light Within, we'll be talking about some techniques to quell anxiety quickly, and some really powerful tools against depression. So we'll be, but they take a little bit more detail than we have time for tonight.
Yeah,
I hope you will join us for Embrace the Light Within. It's a 3-day workshop coming in January.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a little sidetracked here on things, but that's normal for us. So it's all good. It's all good. Jen says, I think I fit the theme tonight. She says, wouldn't love a quick past life reading, but I think she meant would love.
Would love, I bet.
I know I've had a few.
A little unconscious resistance, maybe.
I know. So Jen, coming to you for past life reading, just because you said you wouldn't want one, even though I know it's a mistake. Okay. So Jen, ooh, this is fun. Okay, I don't normally get visions right away when I start, but this is what I'm seeing. I am seeing you as a woman in a past life, and I am seeing you dressed in I'm going to say frumpy clothes. Okay, you are not fashionable by any means. Okay, there's no fashion here
in that life.
In that life, in this life, I'm assuming it's different. If you look like what I'm seeing, then ooh, but I know you're not. And what I'm seeing though is I can see that you're a little bit on the heftier side, let's say it that way. But I also see on your clothes are lots of it's like dirt and things like this. Here's the part that's awesome. You are so happy in that life. You are so happy. You would think that with the way you're dressed that maybe you have hard times, and you may have hard times, but here's the thing. You knew how to enjoy your life. And you weren't afraid to do the work. And I mean literally the work. I see you digging in the earth because there's dirt on you. Okay. I see you having the garden, and I see you laughing so much. And it's a very simple lifetime for this one. There's even though you don't have much in terms of money, it doesn't make any difference because you don't care. You really don't care. You've always had enough. And that lifetime, you are very faithful. You believe in a God. This is so strong to you. And actually, you were a nun. You were a nun in that lifetime. It's so funny because the contrast, I was like, whoa, what? But it made sense to me after that came into my head, because obviously you're going to change your clothes from your habit into work clothes. And you truly loved what you were doing. You truly loved the whole bit about being a nun. And you were into the singing, and you were into the prayers, and you worked in the garden, but you also helped the kids in the area too. You helped the kids with vegetables and also things like that. It was such a generous, loving, joyful life for you. Jen, I love that. I don't know. You'll have to tell me if anybody's touched into that one ever that you know about, or if you felt anything like that. And I would expect in this physical lifetime that you have brought a lot of those qualities with you: the generosity, the love, and the hard work, but the joy of connection and being there and just really enjoying your life. Man, not an easy life, but that was an awesome life. So Jen, there you go. Oh, I got goosebumps on that one. So that's fun. It was 9:00. My goodness, where did that time go? Oh, dear me. Jen says, that's awesome. Thank you.
Jen, does that fit? In some ways, we'd love to hear from you what fits or what doesn't about that.
Yeah, Robin, and this is thank you so much for writing this. Robin says, always so meaningful to remember that I'm the soul that has lived so many lifetimes in search of oneness with the universe. Right? Because that's what we're doing right now. We want to be oneness. Okay? We want to be one with everybody. We want to be connected. That's the whole point of the consciousness shift, to recognize that everyone is connected to us. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reason why we're having so many problems with the political and societal issues out there. The controlling and the suppressing and the oppressing and the hatred and the bullying. We are wanting to reconnect so we are all one. Oh, okay. So, Amanda, I just did a show a little bit ago on connecting with your spirit guides. So go to my page, Colleen Vander Zijden, Medium Intuitive Life Coach. Go onto the videos tab. It's under more. Go to videos, and you'll see there's actually a video on how to connect with your spirit guides. I did it like 2-3 weeks ago. Okay, so
and we'll be working on that and Embrace the Light Within as well.
And we're going to do it in the Embrace the Light Within because why not?
Visualization.
Yeah, and it's a fun one. Okay, so it's 9:00, you guys. So I probably have to stop. Now, next week is December 26th. It is Tuesday, the day after Christmas, right?
Yep.
Okay, and so it is likely that I'll be here. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a whole bunch of readings for an hour.
Ooh, Christmas gifts.
Oh, that's a good idea. Christmas gift readings. What if I just did readings next week, Tuesday? You bop in, you have questions. You know if you have a good question, you're going to get my attention. So save your questions this week. Maybe we'll do that. And because there's so much. And I hope that some of the information that we shared tonight is helpful for other people, not just the people we talked to, but because you know how Spirit is. They want to reach as many people as possible. So we are a grab bag. I know, maybe Christmas gifts. Yay. And it's just so much fun to talk about all this stuff. I can't help but think being one with people like that are bad. Okay, now here's the thing. That doesn't mean we are them. It doesn't mean we take their energy on either. It's just recognizing that each one of us, our souls are all connected, and they are on their path. And maybe their path is to be a jerk in this life. Okay? Maybe if that's their path, that doesn't mean we have to put up with it, but we can still send kindness, love, and compassion to them. Okay, and at some level, deep, deep, far away, our souls are connected. Okay, but we're doing our best if we send love and compassion to people who maybe are acting not nice. We'll just be gentle there. That we will raise the vibration of that. Okay, so you guys, I guess I should stop talking. So things to think about. You can purchase my book on Amazon. Yes, Courageously You, Magical Mind Games to Get Unstuck and Reignite Your Joy. And if you order it today, you'll have it by Saturday. Christmas gifts.
And it's the perfect Christmas gift.
Yes.
Yes. And my book, which is called The Quickening, Leaping Ahead on Your Spiritual Journey, is available on Amazon as well.
Yes, and so feel free, and if you have specific questions or something you want to talk about, you can send me a message through Facebook, and I make notes. I try to go through all the comments, but we have 286 of them right now. If you liked the show, feel free to put a whole bunch of hearts and likes in there, like the post, and share it with your friends too. Okay, I'm going to stop talking now because I'm going on and on as usual. So you guys have the most wonderful Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holidays. Also, Happy New Year, but I'll probably see some of you next week. And Ashley is now posting my book link for you, and it's right there. So, good question, Debbie. I'll make that on my list for next week. Okay, you guys have a great week. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, etc. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.